So recently there was kind of a funny interaction, and I really wish that I could show it to you guys, but I don't want to get copyright cucked. So let me just play the audio, okay? So a Mr. John Oliver, a Mr. J. Oliver Esquire, is calling into a Jimmy Fallon show, and I'm hoping you can tell their voices apart just fine. I'm hoping I don't need to help you with that part, but hold on, let me get your opinion on the segment from their show.
From your heart, Alexa, your rotten heart.
So, John Oliver is speaking over telecom to one of those Amazon Alexa, house speaky things.
This is clearly not a commercial for this.
Oh, in which case, I've got another one. Alexa, how bad are Amazon working conditions?
Nervous
Alexa,
laughter.
stop. Sure. Alexa, stop. Here we go.
Jimmy Fallon tries to stop.
I have to. Alexa. No, Alexa. Alexa, what is union
Alexa,
busting?
this is me time now. Alexa, stop. Stop, please. Alexa, please listen to me.
So, John Oliver asks a couple of leading questions to the Alexa chap. Again, sorry, if I show the video, I'm almost certainly going to get copyright cucked. But yeah, Amazon, the Alexa thing gets asked about union busting and Amazon's working conditions from John Oliver. I want to say, by the way, like right off the bat, I know people shit talk him because John Oliver is the physical incarnation of a soy face, like the soy jack, more so than any other living human. But I think that in this instance, John Oliver is actually quite the Chad, in my humble opinion. I actually feel like John Oliver is maybe the best lib we're gonna get. I think that if John Oliver was even slightly, I mean like by an iota, more overtly anti-capitalist, then John Oliver's show would probably start getting like sponsorship and ad problems, and he would probably start getting like management slamming down on him a little harder. I think that he's about as left as you can get and have that much prominence, because John Oliver is huge. He's a soak down rhetorically, sure, but that's a liberal, I mean. But John Oliver is massive. I mean, he is huge weight, huge impact. And if you actually look at the segments that John Oliver talks about, many of them are, from what I can tell, and this isn't the case with all of them, but many of them are really interesting research piece. I watch every John Oliver because the meatpacking industry, I learned some cool stuff here. Police raids, I learned some cool stuff here. I watch every one of these. Usually there's some really interesting little tidbit of info that contained within them that I did not possess before. I've seen John Oliver criticized before as complaining about the symptoms of capitalism while ignoring their solution. I don't know if that's necessarily fair. I feel like John Oliver is screaming with a bullhorn, like, these are the problems. Can you see the pattern? But the fact that he's platformed in the way that he is, like, he can't call for revolution. He would get fucking blackbagged the next day. So he's limited to just discussing the problems, but he discusses them well, His segment on Medicare for All actually explained the problem with the public option. I just think he does good work. His one on infrastructure in particular, which one? Yeah, his one on infrastructure was really, really good. I remember, that's an old one, but I remember that one being really, really good. Now, again, sometimes I've watched his videos and I've thought like one of the, maybe it's like that's misrepresented this issue, or there are bits of it that are wrong. And I'll be perfectly clear, he is cringe. Really cringe. I mean, oh my God, I know that you need some honey down with the medicine, but oh boy, those jokes, it's where he says the joke and he repeats it like 8 times, Donald Trump is bad, unlike this little gopher. Samuel, hello, Samuel, hello, Samuel, hello. He's great. Samuel is great. I love, not Donald Trump, Samuel is great. Hello, Samuel. And like that, and it'd be like for like 20 minutes, It's, again, look, I like the show, just, Um. Anyway, okay. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this was not it's not just to talk about John Oliver, who I think looks more handsome in this cam than he does in his show. I'm just noticing that. I don't know. Well, anyway, one thing that really struck me while looking at this was, so first of all, and I want to be totally clear, fuck Jimmy Fallon. Okay, I'm not even going to get into that. Just fuck Jimmy Fallon. I'm not clarifying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so there's that. But additionally, it's incredible to me, like for a person in Jimmy Fallon's position, and Jimmy Fallon is a huge public figure. I mean, so influential. And it's incredible to me that this clip demonstrates an extraordinary unwillingness to even allow these issues to be aired in his show. I mean, can you imagine how powerful we would be if these public figures exercised even a fraction of their voice to advocate for the right thing? You know? I mean, I'm not just talking Jimmy Fallon, by the way. I mean, like, all of them. I'm talking Fallon, I'm talking Leno, I'm talking Oprah, I'm talking like all these late night talk show hosts, all of these big celebrities and public figures. A lot of them are fairly progressive people. Maybe in a Kimmel. Yeah, Kimmel. Yeah. Many of them are fairly progressive people, at least in some respects. Not like lefty, overlords or anything, but these people have a lot of social power. They have a lot of wealth and a lot of social power. And very rarely do they meaningfully speak on these issues. I mean, very rarely. We've seen what it looks like when when public figures really exercise their voice to do good, when people actually make this an issue they champion. A good example of that, by the way, would be Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart, he played Captain Picard, the old British guy, shaved head. Yeah, let me find a picture. I don't know. I watched a lot of Next Generation back when I was a kid, so I know him offhand. But this handsome fella, actually used to be the I think he was rated the most handsome man on television back when he was like 50 or something. But anyway, I think if I remember correctly, he's been a pretty outspoken advocate for LGBT rights and among other things. But look, if you're a celebrity, you have, under many circumstances, contracts and obligations which prevent you from being forthcoming about everything that you believe. Oh yeah, Professor Xavier, yes, as well. So I don't expect that Jimmy Fallon can just speak loudly on the necessity for revolution. I don't think that's the case. But I think it speaks to a dynamic when John Oliver, who is himself a very large public figure, is cheekily making reference to Amazon's horrendous business practices, and Fallon is covering up for them. There are a million ways that he could have handled that, by the way. If Fallon was, let's say, we'll be charitable and assume that Fallon was sympathetic to the interests of the working class. He didn't have to shut down the conversation the way he did. He could have let it run for a bit. He could have said, oh, yeah, oh, hold on, wait, what do you mean by that? He could have done something. He could have said something. But he didn't. And rarely, I think, do we see instances like this play out because John Oliver was the one brave enough to actually broach the topic to begin with. I wonder how many other times something like that could have happened. Do you think if John Oliver did a little media circuit, how many late night talk show hosts and celebrities do you think he could get to cover up or to back off of difficult topics like that? How many times do you think that might happen? I imagine quite a few. I imagine quite a few of them are entirely unwilling to address issues like that. At the end of the day, it comes down to what would you call it? It comes down to your audience. It comes down to your audience and accessibility to that audience. So a lot of Democrat politicians and late night talk show hosts were completely okay denouncing Trump, except for Jimmy Fallon, who didn't he Yeah, I remember this one. You guys remember this one? Fallon got a little head rub in there. Got a little pat pat. Yeah, there you go. Um, yeah, it was a little bit of media attention there. Um, but I think most celebrities pretty comfortable disassociating themselves from Trump because if you're a Trump supporter, you hate Hollywood anyway. But when it comes to something like Amazon, there are a lot of Democrats who are either unaware of or unconcerned with the stuff that Amazon does, the stuff that it does to its workers, who don't care about unions. So, for that reason, it's riskier to speak out against Amazon than it is to speak out against Trump if you're one of these public figures. And what John Oliver did right there, I think, is underlined the sort of the passive distance that these figures put between themselves and these real issues. That he could bring up something like that, John Oliver, and it just like, no, 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 no. But I kind of like that, to be honest, you know? Because in a way, it makes them look worse than they ever could by actively arguing against the issue. If Fallon was given enough time, he probably could have said something like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about stuff like that." But by like basically doing like the hand neck gesture, it feels a little more desperate, a little more, "Oh, wow, there really are subjects you can't broach here," That nervous laughter, that like uncomfortable, we don't bring that up here, it feels weird, like being a young white guy and bringing like a black girlfriend home to the family, and then like before you enter, or like you're at the dinner table and your girlfriend says something about BLM, you turn to her and you're like, we don't talk about race here, we don't talk about that. And like I think that says more than the conversation you could have had ever would. Does that make sense? The unwillingness, yeah, the cut the feed, no, no, no. That I think in a way that actually speaks more to it than a fully fleshed conversation would have. I mean, it would have been something, but I think that actually speaks enough right there. So, anyway, Fallon, my man, my dude, I guess thank you for making evident your relationship to these issues. It's good as always. And yeah, I don't know. I like John Oliver. I think a lot of lefties kind of chafe at John Oliver, legitimately like chafe at John Oliver because they see him and they're like, I wish that I could say all of that, but then wave a red flag and say revolution. But he's not doing that last bit, so he's taking up space or something like that. But I think that's very uncharitable. I think he's doing about as much as he reasonably could. And to be honest with you, if I or any other lefty was offered some massive, like huge media position like that, I hope that you wouldn't tank it day one by advocating for a revolution. Hope you might be a little more clever than that, you know what I mean? Get your writing team together, find ways to bring people up on issues affecting America that aren't screaming about revolution, because then you'll get tanked the next day. So be careful out there, okay?